You're here because you're wondering, how do I become a web designer? And that's a valid question. And just a few years ago, I was asking myself the same thing. So I'm going to go over in this video the steps that I believe that you should take and pretty easily can take, because this isn't rocket science. You know, I dropped out of high school. I do not have a college degree. I am not a designer. I didn't go to this fancy art school, and I don't know how to code. I think there's all these things like misconceptions that you need to have in order to be a web designer. And it's just not true. So let's go over the 10 things that you can actually do today, this month, in the next 30 days to become a web designer. So let's get into it. Number one is conceptualize the online space. I talk a lot about this, and honestly, it's because I would not be where I am today as a web designer and as a creative if it weren't for the online space. Something that is so powerful is that businesses from around the world can literally connect with one another via Instagram. It is not just some social platform. It really can be a marketing tool. It can be a device that connects you to a dream client that lives somewhere else. I get asked all the time, actually, this is a really good example of, okay, I live in another country that, businesses don't spend a lot of money on web design. And it's always the same answer. It's okay, great. Then tap into a market that is in the US, or tap into the market in Australia or somewhere else that has a higher currency and can spend more on a website. Because you are online, you can tap into markets anywhere you want. So if you're somewhere else and you want to tap into a US market, you can. It is so simple and easy. And not only that, it is so powerful to be able to create content that just aligns and attracts with dream clients, that you can just have a website, you can have a link in your bio that goes right to an application and book out clients. It gets to be that simple. When I first started my business, I knew that I wanted to prioritize social media. I started right away showing up on Instagram, and it paid off. I started becoming booked out within 6 months, 3 months. I launched a website template shop in 2018 that did a $20,000 launch, and then I went on to make 6 figures in 6 months. It was all because of social media. And I've utilized all these different tools. I've used Pinterest, I've used TikTok, I've used Instagram, and they're all so unique in their own way, but it is so powerful. No matter what your niche is, you can connect with someone on Instagram who has that niche. The coolest thing that you can do even is utilize Instagram, let's say, as a search engine. Everyone has their title in their Instagram name, right? So if you look up, let's say your niche is lash artists or photographers, wedding photographers, literally look up on Instagram wedding photographers, and you'll be able to find a huge list of your ideal clients and then build connections with them. It is so much easier to become booked out and make real money as a creative, and especially as a web designer, if you can understand the online space and use it to your advantage. Number 2 is learning this skill. Learning this skill is going to be so important because it's going to actually create the sustainability in your business. It's going to allow you to feel confident once you book that client, because if you book that client and they send over money and then you have to get started and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to feel like shit. And this is something that I prioritized very early on. I knew that I wanted to really feel confident in my delivery and in my skill set. And so when I found Showit, that's what I design all my websites on. When I found Showit, I started designing and just spending hours in there, just creating mock-up brands. I would go onto Pinterest and I would create boards. I'd create a color palette based off of that. And I would go onto Unsplash or Pexels, grab photos, and I would just create mock-up brands. And it would just allow me to build my skill set. And it would be really fun while I was doing it. It was something that I started becoming obsessed with. I would pour myself a glass of wine and I would design until 2 a.m. And that's when I knew that web design was what I wanted to do, was because I would get lost into it. I would just the creativity of it would literally just take over me. And I found myself wanting to do it. And so learning this skill became easy. It was second nature because I really wanted to do it. But doing that is going to help you immensely. CEO of Showit, if you want to learn, that's going to be the best step for you if you want to really master the second part. Number 3 is actually building the business. So because you are going to become a web designer, you're going to start taking people's money. You're going to have to start delivering things. You need to make sure that you have an established business. And so you need to think about things that probably you've never thought about before. You need to have contracts in place. That's going to be super important. If you have a website, you need a terms of use, you need a policy page, you need a contract contract between the client, outlining the scope of work. There's all these things that, when I first started, I didn't even think that I needed to do. I was like, oh, I'm just going to be like a web designer and I'm just going to like figure it out. And all I'm doing is designing websites. No, you need to have a business in place. It is so important to not skip this over, because I think what people even tend to do is they'll build up and then they'll realize that they're missing out on all these things. And then they have to go back in and implement it and do all the things. And so what I would say is, like, in your first 3 to 6 months, really spend time building your business. It is going to be really helpful in the long run. Okay, number 4 is launching a beta offer. And this is actually what I've done my entire web design journey. And so when you have a new launch, you're going to do 50% off or 30% off, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But it's going to be an incentive so that someone can leave you a review and be like a beta client, a tester, and they get a really good deal. And then you get to grow your portfolio and your skill set. You get to finally work with someone and you get compensated for it. And it just is a win-win. So when I launched Website in a Day, I did a beta offer, and it honestly was like the biggest game changer. I'm so glad that I did it, because I was also able to really refine my process and what I wanted, what the client needed, all of those things that you don't really know until you know, and you just have to do it. And so launching a beta offer is really going to help you with that. Number 5 is taking on 3 to 5 beta clients and really honing in on the client experience. I have grown my business to where it is today because of word of mouth. Like, social media is the starting point, and then really to get those dream clients consistently every single month has been referrals. And you want to make sure that your client experience is so top notch that when you work with a client, they leave and they're like, holy shit, I want to tell everyone about this girl. Like, that was the best experience ever. And you can really think about things like onboarding and offboarding and your communication style and how you streamline everything, how you gather your deliverables, everything like that. I always recommend using something like Notion or Asana. Inside Wealthy Web Designer, I give those trainings and templates, but I definitely recommend getting something like that inside of your business when you're in that beta phase. Okay, number 6, and this is where it gets fun, is you're going to actually turn those beta client websites into website templates. This is what I did in 2018. I took on beta clients and I designed their websites, and then I actually converted those into a website template. So I stripped it down. I changed all the copy to Lorem Ipsum. I, plugged in stock photos, and this is going to be a no-brainer for you, so that if you take on 3 to 5 beta clients, you then in 6 months could have literally a website template shop ready to go where you can make passive income. So you're going to turn those into website templates. Then number 7 is you're going to launch a shop, a website template shop. This is what I did in 2018, and this is how I did $20,000 at launch. I went on to make 6 figures in the first 6 months. I made passive income. I started, getting those Shopify alerts in the middle of the night. I'd be sleeping, or I'd wake up and there'd be like 7 notifications. I made like $1,200 overnight. It's literally insane. And that is what I want every single person, especially a creative, to be able to experience. And I think that you can very easily do that as a web designer with a website template shop. So that's what I would recommend. Launch a shop, do all the work that you need to do, all the nitty gritty behind the scenes, because it will pay off. It is a long play where in a year, you still could be making money from the thing that you launched next week. That website that you plug in, have it on your website, start making TikToks, put it all on Pinterest, and start making money passively. It is going to be the biggest game changer, and it's so much easier than you think, especially if you take Passive Passion Project, where I literally give you the blueprint and all the templates that you need to launch that website template shop. Like, it's a no-brainer. So then number 8, this is kind of bouncing back to the business growth. This is when you really should be ironing out all the kinks and really streamlining your back end, just so that you make sure that your business is operating at a really high level and scalable way. So you really want to make sure that your onboarding process, your offboarding process, all the points, like all the little points of contact that your client would have with you is going to be so important. And that goes for your website template shop. That goes for any kind of offer that you do. You really want to make sure that by that stage, you are streamlined and really like operating at a fast pace. So I recommend like establishing it in the beginning phase, but then as you grow, really listening to the feedback, observing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and then integrating that back into your business once you start, booking out more clients and really like getting into the routine of growing a web design business. It's going to evolve and it's going to change. And I think being really adaptable is going to be the most powerful thing you can do for yourself. Number 9 is actually going to be speeding up your own design process, because once you get to this phase, you realize that time is money and templates and resources are going to be your best friend. I started using my own templates when I would design basically anything, because again, clients don't give a fuck if you use templates. They don't care what you do on the back end to make it easier for you. They just don't. So implementing templates and resources, like if you have the library where you get access to all these different designs to allow you to design quicker. So you can just have a resource plethora and templates to make your design time, your business time, everything that you are spending energy on in your business, you should speed it up, because time is money. And the more time you allow for yourself to take on clients, the more time you allow for yourself to get to number 10, and that's create a day rate offer. So once you get to that point where you're streamlined, you're moving and grooving, your design process is like so fucking quick, you're like, I literally could build a website in a day, then you're going to actually do it. This is what I did in 2020, and I launched Website in a Day, and it literally has been my biggest moneymaker in my web design business, like hands down. And so I definitely recommend, once you get to this point where you are confident, you're comfortable, you're designing quick, you have templates, you have resources, you're streamlined, you have clients coming in, make it easier for yourself and design a branded website in one day, deliver it by the end of the day, so that the next time it can be just rinse and repeat. I started charging, I launched it at a beta offer at $1,600, and then I did 28 and then 32 and then 42, and now I'm at like $5,400 for the day. And I also have a website in a week. And so you can just make so much impact. You can work with so many more clients like this, and you can make so much more money, and you can get to offering this type of style relatively quickly. I see so many designers and my students who will take Wealthy Web Designer, do template customization for a little bit, and 6 months in, they launch a day rate, and it ends up being their most successful offer, because people want this. People have an urgency. And so your ideal client probably wants a website in a day. Go out and do market research. Just ask them if you're curious. But if you want to become a web designer, or if you're just a creative in general, doing a day rate is going to make you so much more money. It's literally wild. I had no idea that I would get my business to the point that it's at, but it's allowed me to scale to hitting $50,000 cash months in my web design business. And so if you want to at all follow my route and make the kind of money as a web designer that I have and that I know is possible for you, I do recommend having your goal, even if it's in 2 months or a year, that's totally okay, but have your goal be launching a day rate. So those are the 10 things that I recommend having be on your vision, your docket to becoming a web designer. If you can work towards those 10 goals, literally in a year, you could be a whole new person. You could have a whole new business. You could be working from your bed in your PJs, or in an airport flying to a remote place in Europe, because you get to work from wherever the fuck you want. You get to make money remotely. You get to make money doing something that you love. I truly believe that it is like the most incredible, most powerful career choice that you can make. So I'm really excited. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if this was helpful. And if you want to start for free, you can grab my creative career course. It is a free mini course, kind of introing you into this world even more of what Wealthy Web Designer would look like. And I really hope that you just find this helpful and take the next step to building your dream creative business. So with that, I'll see you later. Subscribe, like, and share with friends, please. Mwah.